Welcome into the Gateman post-game show, everybody. The Wareham Gatemen lose Game 1 to the Harwich Mariners 4-1, but then they fight back and win Game 2 5-1. Jacob Tobey alongside Connor Federico, Sam Corman, and I guess I'll start with, which one? We'll start with Connor. The pitching in Game 1, Joey Matulovic in particular, kind of struggled early on a little bit.
Yeah, and we saw Matulovic coming into this game. He defeated Harwich pretty handily in a relief appearance earlier this season, last Thursday. He had 9 scoreless innings throughout the season. Today, though, he comes out and he lets up a few runs early on. It's the first pitch strikes that we've said it before and we'll continue to say it, I guess. It's really the key for the Gatemen. A few first pitch strikes were called for balls, honestly, and I think that messed with Matulovic's rhythm a little bit. He let a few real balls go to the wayside through the rest of the count, and he got behind on the hitters, and the hitters sort of took him for a ride, and that was a real struggle for him.
Gatemen only score 1 run. What was the issue in Game 1?
I mean, there was nothing going about the hitting in Game 1. William McIver scored the only run on his own double back in I believe it was in the second or third inning, and it was he got the double, advanced to third on a stolen base, and then scored on a wild pitch. So no RBIs for the Gatemen in that first game. They only had 4 hits the entire game, and I credit a lot of that to the pitching of Tyler Baum of Harwich. He is absolutely unbelievable. The fastball was there, the breaking ball was there all game for him, and I just think that the Gatemen were stunned by his pitching. He was 7-0 at UNC this year with an ERA under 2.5, so we knew that he was going to come into this game really good, and he was even better than we thought. He's one of the best pitchers I've seen in this league so far.
Yeah, he had 9 strikeouts versus that Game 1 lineup, so he was wheeling and he was dealing for sure.
Complete game, too, nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. He went 7 innings, although the game is 7 innings, but hey, he went the whole way nonetheless, so I think that's a good effort for them. Let's stick with you, keep you hot on the mic. Game 2, the Gatemen score 5 runs. They're now 5-0, and they score more than 4 runs in an outing. What was working for them? And it was the pitching that was really a success today.
Well, everyone kind of showed up today. I think most of the guys in the lineup got a hit today for the Gatemen. Jake Anchia with a 2-hit day. We haven't seen that out of him much this year. Some different guys stepped up. Luke Bonfield had an RBI today. We haven't seen him step up to the plate as much as we've expected him to coming into this game. Even when a guy like Tristan Pompey has an off night like he did tonight, the rest of the lineup, Kyle Kasser comes in, Jaron Duran out of the lineup, and the guys that come in to replace him have a good day. In this order, John Topa has a little bit of an off night, and still the rest of the lineup comes in to step forward in fill in those missing pieces tonight for the Gatemen in that second game.
Talk about Justin Montgomery.
Well, I think just continuing on the hitters real quick, Ben Baird finally got his 3rd hit of the season, and it was a good one. It was a double all the way out to the wall. His mom and his sister are here, and it was really impressive, showing off in front of his family who came all the way from California to watch him pitch, to watch him hit rather. But for the pitching, Justin Montgomery, you talked about Tyler Baum, Sam. Justin Montgomery might have been even better through his 5 scoreless innings of 1-hit pitching. We can debate that later, who was better.
Hot take. Hot take.
But Montgomery was so good.
I really wish that Montgomery was allowed to throw a complete game out there. I would have liked to see what happened in the 6th and 7th, but of course Lawler keeping that pitch count pretty low. I did learn that the Harwich pitch count for those pitchers is 85. That's a pretty high pitch count for here in the Summer League. A lot higher than the Gatemen have with Jim Lawler at the helm at the pitching staff.
Turning into first take here. Answer?
No, Sam's absolutely right. And, Lawler's, limiting these guys to 60 or 70 pitches a game. Montgomery was fantastic. They took Justin out of the ball game after the 5th. He only gave up 1 hit to Kobe Vance, who was definitely the player of the game for Harwich, who had all 2 of Harwich's hits. And he came around to score eventually off Frankie Bartow in the top of the 7th, rather. And Montgomery, his fastball was so commanding. We haven't really talked about that being his go-to pitch, but it has a little bit of movement on it, gets 91, 92, and for some reason the Harwich hitters were way behind it. First pitch strikes, the key for Montgomery. Every time he got a first pitch strike, he'd then get to 2 strikes. And after 2 strikes, hitters would be put away within 2 or 3 pitches. So Montgomery has been absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to see that moving forward. This was the ideal game for the Gateman pitching staff moving in the rest of the summer.
And we've seen the pitching staff succeed rather when they get those runs early on. They get the run support early on in those innings. Now let's talk about, real quick, I'll keep you hot on the mic now, an off day tomorrow. What does that do for this team?
Well, you need an off day. You haven't had an official off day since the season started. You're supposed to have one, but there was a makeup game against Hyannis, and in the rainout against Hyannis last Friday, the Gateman players spent most of the day prepping and getting ready for the game. A lot of Cape teams around the league had practice on that day.
Yeah, Chatham had practice.
Yeah, and the Gateman pitchers and hitters were mentally psyching themselves up for playing. So in the 2 weeks of the Cape Cod Baseball League season so far, we've still waited on that complete off day. I think these players are going to take the time to rest, get their legs and their arms and their whole bodies back to work, and it's going to be really good for them on Tuesday when they play the Harbor Hawks. There's only going to be one game played tomorrow, and that'll be Brewster and Bourne. Bourne needs to make up those games. We need to see where the Braves really belong in the standings, because right now they're up high, but they haven't played a ton of games.
I believe Nicki Minaj once said, let's go to the beach, and that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. I don't know about you guys. The players will be there as well, I'm sure.
Let's go get away.
Let's go get away, as Connor Federico would say. Obviously, Nicki Minaj as well. So for Sam Corman, Connor Federico, I'm Jacob Tobey. The Gatemen go 1-1 here on the doubleheader on a Sunday at Spillane Field. You'll check us Tuesday when they visit, or they welcome the Hyannis Harbor Hawks to Spillane Field.